nikimarieradio.
I love the fact that you have the lessons.
Yes.
Because it forces you to really take a look at yourself as well. And you're like, I'm learning from you, but now I'm getting those questions that I probably never really asked myself.
Right. Oh, wow. I'm so glad to hear that you felt that way, because that's exactly what I wanted to resonate with the book.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it before to other people, but, like, I remember, I'm sure, like, being in school, you've had those moments where, it's like the first few days of school and nobody really knows one another, and the teacher's asking questions and no one wants to raise their hand, but once that first person does raise their hand and that dialogue begins, it's like, oh, okay, it's not so hard to start talking in class and interacting, and that's really what I wanted to do by telling my story first, just saying, okay, here, I'm going to lay it all out on the line. I'm going to spill the tea on my own life. And now you can, kind of put the spotlight on yourself to say, what is it that I can improve upon? What is it that I can change? So really, I mean, that's all I wanted to achieve. So I'm glad to hear that you felt that way about the book. So,
it was very moving in a way that I never thought as a potential author myself. But
good.
I never
Congratulations in advance.
Thank you. I never really thought of something like that. Like I want to write a book about finding my voice and just reaching into the past and now letting people see how I was able to overcome those obstacles. Right. But to do it in the way that you did it, I might have to kind of follow that a little bit.
Do it. I mean, I'm all about, some people are like, it's mine, I'm going to hold on to it and be greedy, and I'm not like that at all. I want so many more people to be healed, because I can tell you, Nikki, it feels great to just finally get to a point where you're at peace and you know yourself, and I would just be a hateful person to hold on to that feeling and not want to give it to someone else. So do it. Please run with it.
Yes.
And if you need any help, you let me know, because during
definitely.
this process of publishing, I ended up creating my own, I wouldn't say publishing company, but more of a publishing consulting brand. So if you need anything, free information, additional information, I will definitely help you with that.
I'm so happy that you say that, because for like everybody that wants to write a book, they don't know where to start, and they always get discouraged, because they don't know where to start. They don't have the assistance, and then when you try to find someone, they want a lot of money.
They do. I call them janky. They have like janky promoters in the music business. I call them janky publishers. Oh, I got. I really did, and that's what inspired me to create the publishing consulting brand, because I had someone pretty much swindle me out of $1,000. I won't say that their brand altogether was janky, but the way that they handled the situation with me was not professional. So, I'll go into details at a later time with you, but I'll just say that all the professionalism went out the window when the project wasn't going in the direction that they thought. I'm like, it's my project, so I don't want to do it that way. And I have, I'm stubborn to a fault. I'll take advice, but I knew that the way that they wanted to present me and my book wasn't the way that I wanted to be presented. And when I wanted to back out of it, there was kind of like no give and take. It was just a lot of take. So I decided to just go ahead and finish the rest of the process on my own and do the copywriting, purchase the ISBN numbers that go on the back, and just push everything through on my own. I was scared as hell, but it worked. It worked. Fiverr and, the Upworks, those sort of freelancer sites have been great for a person like myself, just to be able to have the, kind of like the freedom to go in and be independent and find those resources. So, I got you when you're ready.
Wow. It's so funny. I was going to say I had a similar situation, but it was like a co-author opportunity. but they wanted $6,000.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, they charge an arm and a leg for information, and they try to make it so complex, but really, it's not hard. Like, it's not an impossible thing to do. It just takes dedication, and those stop and go moments that you mentioned, like wanting to give up, you'll get there. You'll get discouraged during the writing process. But I feel like with me, knowing that I, had support and just the backing, that's what pushes you to want to continue. So when you start and those moments pop up, don't be too discouraged. Just know that you have people and resources that can help you. And like I said, majority of what I want to do with this brand is to help people free of charge as much as I can, because of course, as you know, time is money. So, if too much of it is taken up, I'm not going to be charging people $6,000. $6,000 is like, oh my gosh. I don't even know what you're doing with all that money. You're writing the book for them at that point. Like, you're putting everything out and doing all of the work. You're the ghostwriter.
Mm-hmm. But what made you want to write a self-help book?
Well, originally, Shell of a Woman was never, ever intended to be a published book. My original intent behind the lessons or the story and then the lessons it was supposed to be a quote-unquote curriculum for my nonprofit, Enough Today. And I wanted to create a confidence course for those ladies, maybe like an 8 to 12 week program that would go along the lines of how the book is set up, where I tell my story. It creates that openness and dialogue for all of us to speak together, and then I send them home with lesson plans, and then they come back the following day or week or however, and we kind of discuss it. And it got to a point where I was actually talking to one of my friends, and he's like, well, what do you have planned for today? And I said, oh, well, I'm trying to figure out how I'm putting together this curriculum for my nonprofit. He's like, curriculum? Like, are you a professor or something? I'm like, no. And with him saying that, I realized that I actually didn't want the book to seem so stern or, just so, I don't know, just so formal. And I wanted it to be something that was just more relaxed and where people would just feel like it was just more inviting overall. So it was never intended to be, this, like I said, this book that was published and branded with a cover until I started to put it all together. And that was where the creation of the, telling my story and then putting the lesson behind it, that's where all of that began. And I shared that just a few chapters, very rough and raw, probably with a lot of typos, with my sister and another good friend of mine, and they're the ones that planted the seed of actually making it a book. And I'm like, nah, this is just something I'm doing, it's not that great. This is just something I'm doing to help, my nonprofit. Yeah. It's not publish worthy. And they're like, yes, it is. And that's really where that all began. I never thought I'd be a self-published, self-help book author, but here we are.
I mean, you have a lot of great quotes, and if you're following me on Instagram, at nikimarieradio, I also have a lot of quotes that I introduce on my social media, but you've done it throughout.
Right.
And I wanted to know where that idea came from to include quotes. And it's not just from yourself, but it's from like Kevin Hart and just other people. And I love the validation quote.
Right. Which one was that you like? The validation.
This was like if you're a woman and
it's self-validation. If you crave self-validation, then you will forever hunger. That's what it is. That's the one. I have to go back and pull up that quote. That was one of my words. Motivation. That's the primary reason why I wanted to put quotes throughout. As I was going through like my own healing journey, there were moments where I would hear people like, I watched Kevin Hart's documentary, and there at the end of it, when he made that comment and said that quote, I was like, oh God, like I have to hold on to that, and I wrote it down. And I feel like quotes, a lot of times, as you mentioned, you have them on your Instagram, I put them on my Facebook, just people scrolling and seeing a quote or seeing a message right on time. Sometimes, like, you don't really know what a person's going through. I've been there, and you see something like that, it's like inspiration. And if you notice, like, a lot of the quotes that I put throughout the book, they're music related, you know, Andre 3000 and Big Boy, and even Lil Wayne, where it says real G's moving in silence like lasagna. It's just, I love music. I feel like, you know, that's a healing tool for a lot of people. Just hearing someone else go through something, it's really helpful. And so, you know, a part of it was to be, of course, relatable, but I just wanted to start each section out with something positive because, as you know, as you read, the chapter goes into, you know, the trenches of my life and what I'm going through, especially at the beginning until I go through that transition. And so I wanted to begin, you know, with the quote, something inspirational. I tell my story, and then, of course, we hop into the lesson plan, which is more inspiration to show, okay, she's not there anymore in her life. Let's go ahead and kind of pick it apart and dissect how I can improve my own life. So that's the roundabout way of telling you where that came from.
I pulled it back up. The quote that I like is, "The woman who doesn't require validation from anyone is the most feared individual on the planet."
Right.
That's my favorite one.
Yes. That's true. I mean, when you finally get to a point of not needing someone to say, "Hey, you're doing a great job," or "Oh my God, you look good, girl," you know, when you just know,
yeah.
It's a whole different level of confidence, just knowing that you're good. And it's never going to get to a point where you don't like hearing it, at least for me. I think it's always great when you have someone who you know has your back, who's just like, you know, that was awesome, or that was great, or you looking tough in that dress right now.
Right.
You know, those are always great things, but they should be additive to how you already feel about yourself. And so that's where, you know, that's what that statement, what that quote means. And I'm sure you probably got the gist of that as well.
Pretty much. And that kind of leads me to the question of being vulnerable.
Right.
Like, although you're the woman and you don't need the validation, but how do you open yourself up to be that vulnerable, and have people actually read the things that you're going through? Because I struggle with that in the very beginning of my first chapter. My first chapter just basically talks about growing up and, you know, the things that I went through with verbal abuse and just like different things. And I'm like, how do I share this with people? And it's funny because I've been sharing it throughout my podcast when I do my voice journals, but now it's in writing. Now it's in black and white.
You have to write it. You're peeling the layers off. Well, first I would say just being that vulnerable, it's nerve-wracking because, you know, I'm in pre-sales right now with my book, and I have 6 days before this book actually drops, and I am not going to lie and sit here and say, I'm cool, because, you know, even though I'm better, it's like I'm not 100% healed from everything that I've gone through in the past, you know, the codependency and everything else. But I'm getting there. I'm a lot better, but those same old instilled tendencies are still in there where I am like, well, what are people going to think, and how am I going to react if they don't like something? And then you have to come to the realization that if you are the individual that everybody likes, like everybody in this world, you're not true to yourself. You're not doing something right. You're becoming a chameleon every time you run into, you know, an individual. Like, you're switching it up. You should be, to a point. I tell my daughter the same thing. So it is scary, but I'll say that healing only begins when you can finally say, hey, you know, this is what I went through. This is, you know, where I'm a little messed up in life, and share it with the next person. And just the amount of inspiration that I've seen, you know, come from my words, and it's only 170 pages. It's just like, it's amazing. And the book hasn't even been released yet. Just hearing you, you know, kind of talk about it, and even, you know, quote that, you know, that quote, it's awesome just to see that what I've been through, what I thought was a mess, has been inspirational to other people, and it's led to them looking at themselves and say, how can I improve on how, you know, on these levels? So just know the reward of what's to come is a lot greater than me having just a few embarrassing moments, because I know I'm not there anymore.
Right.
I know I'm not in the trenches. I know I'm not on the floor crying anymore. I'm better. So, I think it takes time to get to that point. But once you rip off the Band-Aid, it's just like, all right, I'm here. You see what it is. I'm out here naked. Take pictures, whatever. I've already put it out there myself.
Was there ever a point where you wanted to stop writing? Like maybe you felt like you put too much into it, or you stopped having that motivation? Did you ever feel like you just needed to stop? And if you did, like, where do you find the motivation to keep going?
So the first part of it, there were a lot of stop and go moments. What's interesting in me writing that book, it was created throughout the course of, I would say, 11 months, because every time I thought I was done, I would be like, okay, we're good right here. Let me dust my hands off and be done with it. It's only going to be 10 sections, because like I said, it was originally supposed to be just a curriculum for this program. And every time something would literally in the present time go on in my life, it would hurt. I was struggling. I was like, I don't want to write anymore. I don't want to go through any more lessons. And then, something else would happen, and I'd have that aha moment, like, okay, this is for me to add to this book because somebody else is going to need it. So that was like, those were the moments where I would have those roadblocks and bump into the wall and say, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I just want to put together my nonprofit and, just roll this out. And then, part of it, and your second question was, what finally made me want to keep going was knowing that I had to. Knowing that the reason that I originally even put, the pen to the pad was to help other people and to inspire other people. And then I just, you get to a point where you're tired of just going through stuff for no reason. And I feel like, the great majority of people walking this earth want to feel like their life has some sort of purpose. And that was me. It's like, I have to find some sort of reason why I'm taking all these L's, and I need to turn them into lessons. Like, I'm not going to keep, crying in the middle of the floor for no reason. Like, somebody else has to, whether it's an adolescent or, a 45-year-old woman, somebody's going to be able to take my pain and know either how to avoid it altogether or how to navigate through their own life. So just knowing that it would help other people in the long run was really what kept me going.
I mean, the thing that I love with you is that you actually had a purpose for writing this book. Right. And the way you started the book is pretty much how you finished the book. By helping someone. Right. Like it wasn't that ending of, all right, well, here you go. Now is like
I didn't want to end it, I started out, of course, talking about just the moment right after divorce. I don't touch on what happened prior to. I just jump right in and say, hey girl, I'm free, living my best life. We're good. and you think that it's going to be this story of, girl meet new guy and they live their best life. And, right, they're happily ever after. And I could have told the story and stayed in what happened with he and I and the very end of it all and kept it on some sort of, romantic piece. And, at the end of it, she is looking lovely and she finds a new man. And even if it was that, I didn't want a person to feel like your healing comes from another person. Your healing comes from you. It's not from some external Tyler Perry character that just comes and saves you with the, the Shamar Moore braids. It's not him. It's you. Like, you save yourself. And so that's really why I set it up the way that I did, and I ended it the way that I did. Like, you win in the end because you took care of yourself, because you had enough courage to be vulnerable and say, I can't go through this sort of life anymore.
Yeah. I also like the fact that you have the Facebook groups.
Yeah. I wanted to share the exact tools that I used in order to navigate through my own life. I I wanted to make sure that I know sometimes with writing a book, you can't put certain brands and stuff like that in it, but I was just like, this is a free source. It's public. I want everybody else to know what I used in order to navigate through my finances. You know, I started out talking about how I had trouble managing money and being broke, and I had no business being broke with the amount of money I was making, but I just didn't have the knowledge. And if I'm going to talk on how things were bad, it's like, well, let me talk about how I was able to, you know, fix my finances. Not wealthy yet, but we're getting there. Yeah. So let me put you on that same, you know, healing journey, not to just heal your heart, but how to heal, you know, just your mindset when it comes to managing money as well.
I shared the road to 750.net with my mom this morning.
It is so cool in that group. You see the memes, and it's just a fun group. It's not stiff or uppity or anything like that. You know, people ask questions. They're very vulnerable. You know, what can I get? Somebody was like, what can I get with a 525 credit score and $1,000 down payment? They were like, you can get you a bus ticket. but in addition to the funny things that you see in there, there's also like a wealth of knowledge and tools for you to and support for you to grow and increase the credit score. So there's so many other ones out there, but those are the primary ones that I enjoy seeing on my timeline.
Yeah, and everybody has to get the book so they can know exactly what we're talking about.
Yes, definitely. I mean, there are some really, really deep, vulnerable moments in there that I won't spoil for the readers, but it is a journey for sure. I didn't want to be the typical self-help book writer to say, you know, all you have to do is hop out of bed with a smile and just, you know, turn a blind eye to the world. That's not it. It's not, you know, I said that self-love isn't always pretty. Like, it has to be fierce, and not fierce like, you know, I'm going to throw on my best outfit and just slay and act like everything's all right. No, you have to look at yourself. You have to stare at yourself in the mirror. You have to admit what is wrong and critique yourself, and that is hard. That is so difficult to do a lot of times. So it's a process for sure.
Well, of course I want to know if there's another book on the way, but I want to go back to your acknowledgments, and you have on here, shout out to my favorite ex for taking me on one hell of a ride to jumpstart my entire life. What? Why did you even acknowledge?
So I had to. Some will call it shade. I call it a teensy bit petty. But it is, at the end of the day, it is the truth, because I can, you know, I know everybody has had that ex or that moment or that circumstance where they're just like, why the hell did I have to go through that? I wish I never met you. And I think Carl Thomas had a whole song about it, you know.
Yes.
I wish I never met you at all. And I had those moments with this individual, but if I didn't, like Nikki, if I did not meet this gentleman, I would not be here. I would not have had those moments with him where I could, you know, he was my mirror. I'll put it that way. He brought up some things, whether he did it in a rough way or a sweet way. He made me look at myself to say, I'm not perfect. These material items that I thought were covering up all my issues or making everything better, like that was actually making things worse. Like he brought out a whole different side of me, and like literally when I had that tower moment where everything crumbled and I was just left in the rubble and then he was gone, it was just like, okay, so how do I get out of this? And there's two decisions. You either stay there in the ashes and, you know, just in the rubble of all of it, or you get up and you decide to clean up the pavement, you know, build on a solid foundation and just keep going. And I know 100% that I wouldn't be where I am, at least right now, in this sort of way if I didn't meet him, and if he didn't say the exact words and treat me the exact way that he did. So, I mean, it goes back to deciding how you're going to play your cards, because there's really only two decisions when something rough happens. Are you going to sit there and pout about it or cry or do something worse to yourself? Or are you going to decide that I have to improve, or I have to keep going, and in addition to that, I'm going to share what I'm going through with someone else in hopes that it can help them and they can help me?
Yeah. I mean, this self-help, would you say that it helped you in, like, I don't know how many different ways, but how do you think writing your story has helped you personally?
Oh, it helped me to let it go, especially to let the thoughts of him go. When and up until the point of actually publishing the book, when I published it and I got all the notifications back from, the publishing platforms online that said it was a go and it's approved, I was like, all right, it's official. And then I put the promo online to let everybody, because I hadn't told anyone except for a couple of people that I was writing a book. And then when I let the world know and it was solidified, like it was an agreement to everyone that this is what I've done, it was freedom. It was just like, okay, I've done it. You made this arrangement to say that you're going to write the book, or not write the book, but release it to the world. So there's really no turning back at this point. So it's been released.
I'm curious now, because you have this book and it's like, okay, did I let it all out? Did I get everything out that I needed to? Yeah. Because now if you're going to write another book, and are you going to write another book, and would it be geared towards life struggles like this again?
Maybe. I think that, and I know it might sound crazy, but I love webisodes, and I also love Issa Rae and the way that she is as far as just being a director and also an actress. And I don't want to say anything's impossible or far-fetched, but I mean, even the book, before I published it, it was a far-fetched dream too. But I kind of want to write like little webisodes and do more things geared towards, videography and, just tamper kind of in that genre, because I do want to dig a little bit deeper into my exact story without, of course, putting anyone on blast. But I feel like touching a little bit more on the specifics of my relationship and then the things that I went through that, like I said, I won't reveal here, it will really help. And so, that one specific topic in the book, I feel like I want to touch on that and tackle that a little bit more, because it's such a taboo topic. So that as far as things that I have going on with my own project and my own story, I do see there being an extension at some point, but until I'm led to know the exact direction, I couldn't tell you right now exactly like how that would go. However, since creating and having to publish my own book and figure out how to do that, I created Vibe Rich Media, which is a publishing consulting company. And my daughter, Ms. Jordyn London, she's actually in the process, along with my niece. They've collabed together to create a children's book. So I'm helping them to put all that together. And then we have entrepreneurs all throughout the family, I guess, creative minds. So yeah, there's a children's book that my niece, Kyla Brina, she's illustrated, and my daughter is in the process of writing, and it's called Her Kind Words. And it's pretty much based on how my daughter is. She makes it a point when we're out at the store, or even if we're in the drive-thru, if she sees a young lady or just a woman in general, she always wants to stop and tell them what a great job they're doing and how pretty they are. And I'm not going to lie to you, like initially...
Wait, I have to cut you off just to ask you, how old is your daughter?
She is 9. She's been doing this since she was like 7.
She has to go on my daughter's show. My daughter is 6. She'll be 7 next month. She has a podcast. It's called Haley J and Friends.
What's it called?
Haley J and Friends.
Aww, I love it.
She only did the trailer, but we're looking for guests. And, she wants it to be kids. we had one adult, but she wants to have interviews with kids, young girls, especially that are entrepreneurs or what do you call them? Kidpreneurs.
Yeah, oh, that's so cute. That is so cute.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, Jordyn, I'm sure she is a character. You know, there is a phrase that we've said before, which is, what is it? Oh, yeah, they've been here before. You know,
yes,
you
it's like
your grandmother.
Have a old soul.
Yeah, oh, she does. She says things all the time that just really inspire me, and she's been my hugest inspiration this entire time. Like, she'll never let me say that I'm trying to do something. She's like, Mom, you're the best. And I'm like, I try. And she's like, you don't have to try. You already are. And she's like, you know what? I really don't like when you say that. I don't like for you to say that you're trying. She's like, you're doing it. And so, yeah, she's been my hugest inspiration and motivation throughout this entire process. But yeah, they're going to be dropping their book within the next 30 days, and I'm super excited about that.
Oh, we have to get her on the show before it launches.
Yes. We'll definitely set that up. I know that she will love it.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, she was upset she couldn't be on this call. I was like, it's for me, it's only like a few minutes. You're going to take all the time.
It's for the grown-ups.
Right.
So my last question, and I also want you to tell everyone where they're going to be able to find the book, but who is the person that you admire most in life and why?
Well, my daughter, 100%. I admire her strength and her spirit. There's just something, and as you know, with your daughter, Haley, there's something about the way that they think. They don't have like any boundaries or borders. It's just like they just think that they can do whatever it is. And if Ray's right, which I'm sure you have with your daughter, like we teach them to think and believe that there are no limits. And so their imagination's just so huge and broad. And I love that Jordyn, she is that old school spirit, and she's just so whimsical, but she has this mindset of, if I think it can happen. And she helps me to manifest things on a lot of levels, because like I said, there are no borders, no barriers. It's just like we write it out, we look over it, we say this is what's going to happen, we believe it, and we let it go. And so she's been my hugest inspiration, just to watch her and to be encouraged by that little person. But really I would say that Jordyn, for sure, is one of my biggest inspirations. But my twin nieces, Kyla, Abrina, and Lamaya Kennedy, those two they are the dopest artists that I've come across in a very, very long time. The artwork that's at the beginning of the book, like the black and white sketch photo, the sketch, that Maya actually did that one. So yeah, they're dope. They're real talented, and they inspire me. I'll go over to my sister's house, her mother's house, and they're in there with Alexa playing, old school 80s in the background, and they're, with the oversized overalls on with paint splatters, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm on the East Coast or something. They're just in there all artsy, and they all make me want to do better. So I would say the most inspirational people in my life are the youngest ladies that I'm around.
They're so open, and I'm trying to explain it how I would explain my daughter, because I actually have 3 kids. I have 2 boys and a girl, but there's something about the baby that pushes me. I guess maybe because I see myself in her eyes as a young woman, and there's just something that's so innocent and
it is.
And
they
truthful.
Have no limits. It's just like they just know that they're going to be whatever it is that they think that they're going to be, and that's exactly how Jordyn is. And as you mentioned, you have sons. I have a son. My son Jay is 23, and he is my twin as far as looks are concerned. He's also my twin as far as how I was at 23. It's frustrating, but it is something different about seeing like a little girl, and knowing that she's watching you. She's watching everything that you do, and I just try to do my best to not take that innocence away from her while I am instilling life's reality, just to let her know this is how this works. There are going to be some people, the whole phrase that I mentioned earlier about if you are in a position where everybody likes you, then you're not being yourself. I had to tell her that because she was struggling with the whole thing of people in school, they think that I'm different or they don't like me, and I'm like, it's okay. They're not supposed to. Like, everybody's not supposed to like you, but you're succeeding. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you're doing a great job. You get a sticker. You get a gold star.
I've used this phrase that people are in your life for a reason, and some people are in your life for a season.
Right.
So not everybody's going to be your friend.
Right. Right. You have a person, those people that are in your life for a reason, those are the ones that we really hurt the most over, I think, sometimes, because, the reason and the season, we have those emotional attachments, because when they leave, we hate to see them go, but those reason people are the ones that sometimes come in and something not so great might happen, and you're just like, well, why were you here? And I just, I have to challenge myself to sit down and ask, like, what did they bring to the table, whether it was good or bad? Like, what was it that I gained from this experience? So that way I can just take it, learn from it, and then put it and let it go. Not put it on the shelf in my mind, like I can just release it and let it go. I get stuck when I'm hung up on those moments of, well, why did this happen? Why did they come? Well, what is this? And my mind is just on 10. So it's those reason individuals I feel like a lot of times I've had the most attachment to, because you want more for situations, but you really can't make things happen, not outside of yourself.
Well, I want to know where your book is going to be so people can support as much as they can.
Yeah. So right now it is distributed nationally. As the weeks pass, they'll begin to be on more sites like Books A Million and so on. But right now, the easiest way to find the book is to go to shellofawomanbook.com, and all of the readers will be able to find the links. I'll also be selling the book directly from there. All of the books that come from the direct website will be autographed and personalized copies. So, that's a little special touch versus ordering directly from Barnes & Noble or Amazon. And in addition to that, if they would like the ebook is going to be, it is currently available for pre-sale on Amazon.com. Again, those links are on shellofawomanbook.com. And if they would like information about my organization and Up to Date, which is where obviously all this came from, they can go to iloveyoursmile.org, and there's a ton of information there if they need any sort of resources, any sort of coaching, counseling. We have individuals to help them with that as well.
Oh, awesome. I have my own special edition. But there's nothing like a signed book.
Yes.
So I'm definitely going to go onto shellofawomanbook.com so I can get my own signed copy.
Yep. Those signed copies will be up very, very soon. I will have those at the top of, at the beginning of August.
Awesome. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. I just, like I said, there's still those moments in me where I'm just like, is everybody gonna like it? Like I said, everybody's not supposed to.
Yeah.
Your haters are your motivators.
Yes.
I just want to, I'm looking forward to speaking to more people like yourself that say, hey, I got something from it, even if it was one dope quote. I got something that made me smile and made me think and help myself.
It's very deep, though.
Thank you.
It's very deep. It makes the fear that I had kind of subside a little bit.
Good. I mean, we all have, at the end of the day, we all have issues. If you run into someone who says that they don't, they have not taken time to look at themselves. And everything doesn't have to be some, oh my gosh, I was on, drugs, or I was on this, or I was depressed or anxious. It's just, there's something in there. If you are an adult, you've gone through something.
Yeah.
So just look at it and grow from it. Like, I truly believe that we are all put on this earth to learn from one another's lessons and experiences and to help each other.
Well, speaking of an adult, if anyone is listening to this episode, then they are going to actually hear the first announcement that I have.
Okay.
I am starting a new podcast that I will be the producer for. So it's a nikimarieradio presents Unwind, Chill, and Connect.
Okay.
So it's for the grown and sexy. And I would love to have you on either as a host or a co-host. My idea is to have women and men who are over 21. And we just kick back, maybe drink a little wine, a little iced tea, or whatever you prefer, and just talk about life.
I'm down, 100%.
Yes.
Let me know where to call in, Zoom in.
Yes.
I'm there. Fly in. I'll sit next to you. I need a vacation anyway.
Yes. I mean, the people that I've connected with, and that's why I have to put in connect, because some people are more like either like the best friend or a family member, and I feel a certain vibe and a certain energy, and those are the people that I want either on my team or in my circle.
Right.
And listening to you and reading your book, I feel that vibe and that energy that I would want in my circle.
Good. Well, thank you. I have goosebumps just confirming that it would be a good move. But thank you. I'm excited. I am more pleased just knowing that the book has helped you in some sort of way. Because really, that's the whole point of it all.
Yeah. It means a lot that you even share that with me. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Enjoy your special copy, and I'll make sure to get you an autographed copy as well.
So one more time, I just want to make sure that everybody's listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
When is the book coming out?
The book will be officially released. The ebook will be available 100% on the 17th of July. So we have about 6 more days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the same thing for the paper copy as well. They can order it and it will be shipped out, and of course they'll receive it in a few days. But everything, pre-sales will be over on the 16th of this month. The book will be available 100% on the 17th. I am so nervous, but I'm excited. I am. I'm over here just like, Raven. That's so Raven. Chewing my gum real hard.
Yes.
I am nervous, but I know that it's going to help a lot of people. It's going to have those wow moments, and you've read it. I'm ripping off the Band-Aid for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, any last words that you want to say to my listeners? Anything that is motivating, or maybe some tips for future authors?
Yeah, well, so for future authors, I will say, if you have a story, if you have a thought, if you have just a creation that is inside of you, write it. Write it down, even if it's rough, even if it's ugly, even if you're just picking up the phone to record voice notes. Say what it is that's on your heart and on your mind, so it doesn't go away into the abyss, and share it with someone who supports you. Don't share your baby too soon with people that will come and kill your dream.
Yes.
Share it with a close friend who will hold you accountable and say, girl, you wrote that book yet? Have you started on this chapter? And don't think that you can't do it. I got stuck a couple of times just in unknown territory, not really knowing how copywriting works, or what an ISBN number was, and all these other things, and how to upload documents to publishing platforms. And so that's how I ended up in the situation paying someone else, which went very left. But don't be discouraged. It takes time, but it's not impossible. And if you are seriously thinking about it, or even just, casually thinking about it, they can go to viberichmedia.com. And there I've already included, I think 13 steps of, just play by play of what you need to do, where you need to go, and all of that is free. I also offer 20 minutes of free consultation. Just we can jump on a Zoom call and talk it through, and they don't have to pay for anything unless they actually want me to, do the process for them. But I just, I want to offer other authors an opportunity that I didn't have, someone who was willing to help me and give me that information, help pull that information from your brain for free. And it doesn't take anything but a moment to just say, here you are, here's some information, here's some tips, and just something to get you going. But to authors, don't be discouraged. You can do it, just keep going, keep pushing. And just to anybody in life, male and female, don't get so stuck in the present and what's going on to a point where you feel like it's the end of the world. It's a lot easier to cope with your life if you literally look at it as, okay, this adversity that I'm going through is going to make me better, it's going to make me stronger, and not necessarily looking for the purpose in it in that exact moment, but just seeing it as to how it can benefit you in the long run. And journaling helps a lot. Whether, you like to write or if you like to pick up the camera and vlog, just get your feelings out. Just make sure to have that moment of releasing and accepting. And that really has helped me throughout my entire journey. Share with someone or write it down yourself, but just get it out. Don't keep it in.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite podcast host, Nikimarieradio. I wanted to give you some information about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free, and free is for me. They have creation tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or even your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast in so many places to be heard, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many others. You can even make money with minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I can't wait to hear your podcast.